is I was talking to a brand.
Who? I want names. I'll call them right now because I think you're a delight.
Well, I think sometimes I overthink what I do.
Okay.
But I also treat my comedy as a business. It was a thing to do to meet chicks and to hang out when I was in my teens,
40s,
and then into the 20s, and then it becomes to, okay, I need to keep this up so I'm not homeless at 50.
Yeah, mortgage.
After Last Comic, it switched to now you're incorporated, and now you have to maintain that. You know what I mean? Like it's.
I want to go back to what you said earlier.
Okay.
Would I know how to tell somebody to write a joke? The answer is an emphatic no.
Yeah, either it.
But because what I think guys like you and I and guys that we like watching do comedy, like I can't write like Carlin wrote. I can't write like, Alonzo's a guy that can just crush joke writing.
Topical stuff. Just
all day.
Watch the news
if
once.
You go
and
lamps, he'll go, the thing about lamps, man. And he'll just go. And and he never misfires. Corolla's like that too. But with me, it's almost like, and I've actually admitted this to audiences, is I feel like just weird shit happened to me that's just a little weirder than what happened to everyone else.
Right.
But I have a mic and a stage. Like, and your nostalgia is like the shit you do that makes me so happy when you do it. But I think what you're doing and what you're reporting on, like you said, I think it did happen to everyone. But for some reason, you have... Blessed sounds so phony and ridiculous. You sound like an athlete. Like, I'm real blessed. You're blessed with the ability to go, oh, I can just shoot this back out in a funny way.
Yeah, and I want.
But that's
people,
how you would write a joke, but you can't teach somebody that.
Yeah, and I want people. I go for more of a feeling than joke. Like guys who do joke 1, joke 2, joke 3. I'm like, how do you do that every night? Because you're relying on your joke just by joke by joke. Where I go, let's kind of get this feeling going. And then we can hang out in that space for a while.
Right.
Like, I do stuff now where I talk about, you turn into your dad, and you usually turn into your dad the night before you leave on family vacation. And then I look at the crowd and go, remember how pissed off your dad looked the night before you went anywhere? Take a moment and just imagine your dad's face. Now, after I say that, the whole crowd keeps laughing for a little bit, but I haven't said anything.
Right.
And then... after shows, sometimes you have people go, man, that thing you did about dads, you nailed it.
And they did the writing in their own mind.
Yeah. So it's kind of like making choices like that where they had a greater experience because you can't think of your dad's face. I can't make that thing. So you let them kind of almost like play along and you get them in that space and those feelings come up where if I do a joke about being gone for 12 hours and you're playing on stuff you shouldn't be on, like that random green box between every house that hummed, just that mystery green, and people go, and then you talk about how I called it home base or ghoul and it was 20 degrees warmer. And that might be why I don't have kids now is because of that green box. And it's it's not necessarily punchline funny. But you immediately go, oh my God, the green box, and it lives. You still get a score for the laugh. You still get a.
I'm still thinking about it right now
because people like it.
I'm gonna think about it tomorrow.
Yeah, but that's my.
I wasn't being a dick. Like literally, I'm gonna pass houses and think of that stupid green box.
Yeah. It hummed and
warm.
warm.
I remember the community pool in Verona where I grew up had silent alarms, and they were just like these cone discs that were on the fence. And it just really looked like a white plastic hubcap. And we were all like, man, that's an urban myth, man. There's no silent alarm. So we would hop the fence at 8 o'clock at night and just go swimming. And literally, I would say 120 seconds. Whip, whip, whip. I mean, there's 6,000 people in the town. 18 of them are cops. All 18 cops are just running through a parking lot, guns drawn. And there's just a bunch of potheads swimming. And we're like, oh, silent. Dude, they really work, bro.
Yeah.
The green box, man. That's some Carlin-esque shit, that green box. And you melted your nuts. That's why you don't have kids.
Yeah. I like, and that's for me, I like doing that type of comedy more than I'm pissed off and angry, and this is how the world should be.
Well, you're not pissed off and angry, are you?
That's right. I don't know how pissed off and angry comics
if you did that.
Fake that every night. Do you hear me?
I don't know. Yes, I do, and I'll take it a step further. I don't know how.
That's why I get shit for being the comic that I am, like the guys who. And I don't even have a person in general, but just the feeling. Guys that go, we perform.
What's he gonna talk about? Sticking a tube in a dog's ear and yelling?
Or yeah, exactly. Or I'm doing spots at 2 a.m. Man, you're not being real if you don't talk about sex and cuss. Yeah, I am. Yeah, it's there's that whole clique.
I'm being real me.
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't know how any comic goes up and is inauthentic ever for a moment.
You see, especially the angry guys are the guys who open for a bit. It's just you'll see them back in the green room eating chicken tenders, talking about something funny, and then they get on stage. Where's all my Republican? Like, wow, you went from 0 to 100. You weren't that pissed before you went on stage. That would,
Yeah, it's all when I feel like
That just seems like a lot of work. I'm not saying it's wrong to be the angry guy, but I'm saying that just seems like a lot of work.
It's wrong to be inauthentic. I think that's safe in a company line to take. But I also know when I feel like, wow, I'm kind of mailing this in, that's when I get the panic, not about what I'm doing, but that's when I get the panic of I need to fucking write something. That's when I get that panic. And that's when I ask my wife, what's happening? What's funny? And she'll say, every murder show, they say she lit up a room. And then I'll just do like 10 minutes about murder shows and all the commercials during the day. Do you have mesothelioma? Yeah. During the nighttime, the commercials are like, drink it, fuck it, suck it. Drive a truck on your way to drinking it and sucking it. And during the day, it's like, do you have a vaginal mesh that tore? I'm like, I don't even have a vaginal. So that's my new material. I wake up my wife and say, what's my new material?
Yeah, my wife saw me perform over New Year's, and she never sees me. And it's she said some stuff that I got mad afterwards, where your feelings were hurt. But she's coming from an honest place, where she sees you. She's like, yeah, that one. I don't know why you're doing da 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 da.
My wife does that too, but I think
it seemed like, and I was like, what? How dare you? But you know
why it is?
It's feedback. What it is, it's feedback, and
it's more than feedback. The wife sees the best they married you because they've seen the absolute guy in the white horse, you.
Right.
And without your friends and without you humping a fucking stool in front of strangers in Washington, D.C., they know the guy that doesn't ever have to pump his cock at a stool at the D.C. Improv. And then when you do it, they go, I don't know why you're humping the stool. You're so... And then we go, well, that's kind of my thing. That's kind of my thing, humping the stool. I'm known for it. It's on my T-shirts.
I have, 3 or 4 CDs, 3 specials, and I never know. People from Last Comic, which was 100 years ago, there's bits on there, like the Tube one that you mentioned, and some other stuff that when I don't do, people come up and they're like, we loved you didn't do that. So I have maybe 5 to 10 minutes, maybe at 10 at the most, of almost greatest hits. Because if you look at a crowd, I would say 90% of that crowd hasn't seen me ever.
Yeah.
I mean, they might have heard, but for the most part, everything's new to them.
Yeah.
And my wife goes, yeah, you did that one chunk of we've all heard it, is what my wife said.
Oh.
But it wasn't the whole show. I just did this one little thing where I was like, you know what? I should do all my greatest hits.
Did your wife see you when you were on Last Comic Standing?
Before. I was at my wife's house.
That was my cool way of asking. Same wife?
Same wife, yeah.
Okay.
I was at my wife's house
Great kid.
In Florida. What?
Super cool.
Super cool.
We dig her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Because last time I didn't ask you because I was like, I don't remember him getting married. I remember you guys were sort of engaged.
We got married 2 days after I won, 2 days before I won Last Comic. Or 2 days after.
Who was the best man? Her accountant?
Yeah. That was
and the winner is, hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Just, we signed this.
It was 2 days after I won Last Comic. I think Last Comic aired on
$250,000 is John Heffron and wife.
I got no money my season.
You got the development deal and a pat on the back.
I got the $50,000 development deal.
This Laurel and Hardy handshake.
After they subtracted the $33,000 I made in union dues for being on the show for 6 months. They subtracted 33 from 50. So I didn't even get 50.
Look at you now. You got your own podcast.
Listen, I'm not complaining.
You're in a garage in Santa Monica. You're swinging for the fences, kid.
But, what were we talking about before? We were talking about
doing bits.
Doing the bits, explaining people.
Your wife
teaching people how to do them.
You can't explain somebody to teach a joke. You have 4 separate 15 minutes. You want to know if Hardee's is open or Arby's is open.
Oh, look at that.
Which you got, you're built like a brick
we're talking
shit
about writing new stuff.
Yeah.
I'm working on a new special that I want to shoot this year. And that's stressful. I don't know how people work on new specials.
Well, isn't that what you're doing right now when you go do stand up?
Yeah, I'm lazy. I just want to
go
at
the Improv, Washington D.C. John Heffron, Washington.
And also at the end of January, I'll be at the Columbus Funny Bone.
C-Bus.
Yeah, I love that place.
Really?
Which is a good place.
I got to go with the radio show. Columbus is like a huge affiliate.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Columbus Funny Bone. Dave Stroop runs a place. It's a great club. Very Midwest, but I'm Midwesty. So I do well.
Whoever the fuck's in front of me, E. I don't give a shit.
That's also helpful.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that's what separates you, guys like you, and like those alt comics and stuff. It's always guys like you and me. I'll put you and I in the same category. It's like, if it's a prom show, I'm doing prom jokes. I'm going to win them over. I'm going to act like I'm young and full. If you're doing a college, like, hey, remember? Hey, what's the deal with so? And then the alternative guys, it seems like, or girls, it seems like I'm going to make them laugh my way. And if they don't get it, that's their bad because I know what I'm doing. They have to get me.
Yeah, the only, I think for that alternative
which makes us more pathetic, I think, in the long run. Like, I'll do whatever it takes, mommy.
Yeah, or does it, though? Like, I don't. I was talking to somebody, would you rather, or was it even you in the last podcast? Or no? Would you rather make, let's make it a small, or not small, $2 million up front 1 year, or whatever the math is, $300,000 every year consistently till.
You got to take the word is consistency.
If you're a comic.
You got to take the consistency.
Yeah. And I think doing what I do for me consistently works. Alternatively, if we're talking about that works if your friends make it on Comedy Central and they bring you along. Because if you notice, you see all those, it's the same group of people. Mm-hmm. So if you can fall in that clique and your friends bring you along, that's great.
Talk about phonies and insincere assholes, though.
If you don't, let me put you at the Columbus Funny Bone and people are going to stare at you. Or you'll never, you know what I mean? Or you'll never work a corporate or, But
last time we spoke, you were doing a lot of corporates, and you were doing, what were they talks? What talks? The ones where the
I wanted to do a TED Talk, but I have a book that I'm working on starting tomorrow.
You do a lot of like motivational speaking seminars.
Well, this book though, that's too much work. I do like that. I went to a lot, and I went to a lot of speaker training, and then there's a TED Talk that you can watch online that I wanted to do one, but they're hard.
As yourself,
yeah.
But what are the ones you went to as a?
I went to. I didn't go to any TED Talks, but I went to speaker training, the 2-week speaker training last summer.
Yeah, and you said it was like it was really helpful.
I use all the stuff on stage now. I enjoy myself better. I think I'm a better storyteller. That sounds very.
It isn't
actory movie. Well, I really like the role.
You're selling yourself short. I think the audience will think it's refreshing of a guy going.
But I think about movement now more than before, or voice tone or whatever, and it's a better experience for the people watching. And they might not even know it. Like my buddy says, it's like if you hear a song that you really like and you're really into it and you're like, I like the song, and then you keep listening to it, and one day you go, I never heard that bass line before.
Yeah, it's called pot.
Yeah, exactly. Where you go, I never heard the cymbal during that, but
I'm going to listen to Abbey Road and only listen to Paul's bass because someone told me he's underrated, and you go, oh my God, Paul's amazing,
So
bro.
you do all this stuff, and whether it makes it different or not, it all puts it all into, one big thing. You hope, or if not, it's just for me, and it makes it more entertaining.
Remember your dad's face the night before vacation, and then you don't do anything, and you let the audience just sit on it and simmer it, and what would be... Because that's something you can really mold and play with every night. What's the longest you can push that before they just stop?
Here's one I do. I talk about being in relationships, and you do one thing that kind of I'm cutting this bit down, but you do one thing that really pisses off your significant other. Everybody in here has one tick or mannerism that when they do, like your wife might wipe peanut butter off of a butter knife and not say anything to you, and then she might wipe it off again. And like a video game, every knife she collects, she's becoming more and more powerful. And one day your wife will explode, and in your brain you'll be thinking, her rage is not proportional to the crime I just committed.
Yeah,
as a guy, you're thinking, that was one knife. Well, it wasn't. It was 4 or 5 years of knives. And it's like, and this is the example I'm getting to, it's like that clown game. It's a clown. You click it into a box, and you go, it was a Jack in a Box, worst game in childhood history. And you would go, ding, 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 ding. And this is the joke I'm letting you know. I milk, and then I stop and go, none of you have a good feeling in your stomach right now. But like sometimes I'll go, ding, 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 ding. And like, just depending on my thing, I'll just play that where it's uncomfortable. Well, somebody will, how pissed off your dad looked the night before you went anywhere. Take a moment and just imagine your dad's face. Now, after I say that, the whole crowd keeps laughing for a little bit, but I haven't said anything.
Right.
And then after shows, sometimes you have people go, man, that thing you did about dads, you nailed it.
And they did the writing in their own mind.
Yeah. So it's kind of like making choices like that where they had a greater experience because you can't think your dad's face. I can't make that thing. So you let them kind of almost like play along and you get them in that space.
You know how to tell somebody to write a joke? The answer is an emphatic no.
Yeah.
What I think guys like you and I and guys that we like watching do comedy, like I can't write like Carlin wrote. I can't write like, Alonzo's a guy that can just crush joke writing.
Topical stuff. Just
all day.
Watch the news
if
once.
You go lamps, he'll go, the thing about lamps, man. And he'll just go. And and he never misfires. Carolla's like that too. But with me, it's almost like, and I've actually admitted this to audiences, is I feel like just weird shit happened to me. You can't teach somebody that.
Yeah. And I go for more of a feeling than joke. Like guys who do joke 1, joke 2, joke 3. I'm like, how do you do that every night? Because you're relying on your joke just by joke by joke. Where I go, let's kind of get this feeling going, and then we can hang out in that space for a while.
Right.
Like, I do stuff now where I talk about, you turn into your dad, and you usually turn into your dad the night before you leave on family vacation. And then I look at the crowd and go, remember how I was talking to a branding guy.
I want names. I'll call them right now because I think you're a delight.
Well, I think sometimes I overthink what I do.
Okay.
But I also treat my comedy as a business. It was a thing to do to meet chicks and to hang out when I was in my teens,
40s,
and then into the 20s, and then it becomes to, okay, I need to keep this up so I'm not homeless at 50.
Yeah, mortgage.
After Last Comic, it switched to now you're incorporated, and now you have to maintain that. You know what I mean? Like
I want to go back to what you said earlier. Okay. What I need that's just a little weirder than what happened to everyone else.
Right.
But I have a mic and a stage. Like, and your nostalgia is like the shit you do that makes me so happy when you do it. But I think what you're doing and what you're reporting on, like you said, I think it did happen to everyone. But for some reason, you have blessed sounds so phony and ridiculous. You sound like an athlete. Like, I'm real blessed. You're blessed with the ability to go, oh, I can just shoot this back out in a funny way.
Yeah, and I want.
But that's
people,
how you would write a joke. But you